Good evening, and welcome to this week's Defacto review. Today we will review the following events happened last week in Mongolia. The Mongolian Economic Forum 2022. Student protests and state reactions. Dem party and factions are divided on a new leader. Topic 1. The Mongolian Economic Forum. This forum was held on August 7 and 8 in Ulaanbaatar. The motto of the forum was "The New Recover," reflecting the economic policy of the government. Hundreds of representatives of civil society, government, private sector, and academia have participated in the forum and discussed the pressing issues in the country. Mongolian Prime Minister Lobsang Namsaray Oyun-Erden, in opening speech, talked about the current situation. Mongolia was just recovering from the 2 years pandemic, but faces now the new challenge coming from the crisis in between Russia and Ukraine and COVID-19 related border cross restrictions from China. We must implement our new recovery policy, which includes comprehensive reforms in such fields as port, energy, industry, green development, and government efficiency, productivity. Mongolia is going to see only 2.5% GDP growth this year instead of World Bank previous forecast of 5.5%. The main outcomes of the forum. There will be clear definition of private sector participation in the main projects, and main projects underlined in the sixth recovery policy. There will be limited role of the state companies. Secondly, privatization of state-owned enterprises into public shareholding companies in order to have strong check and balance. There will be clear direction of fighting corruption. Development Bank of Mongolia, then Erdenes Mongolia, then Tavan Tolgoy called sales criminal group cases, etc. Very clearly defined the lines. Highlighted the digital transition of Mongolia, where 600 plus public services are already now online. There are 5 new laws related to this digital transition already approved and will be in function from May 1st, soon. These laws including, for example, the digital signature. Measures supporting foreign direct investment and list of projects like free economic zone nearby the new international airport. Rural development leverage is cooperative. New branding of Mongolia. Energetic Mongolia. These are some highlights I made during these 2-day conferences, sitting there. Indeed, there was a lot of energy inside of State Palace for these 2 days. The second topic is the student protest and state reactions. Outside of the palace, on the Sukhabata Square, there was a lot of energy too. Thousands of young people, mostly students, protested there against consumer products price increase. Staged a peaceful demonstration under the slogan, "Let's live well in Mongolia." Indeed, prices for meat, fuel, and bread have increased in Mongolia recently. Inflation reached 14.5%. the national currency is devalued and reached 3,200 MNT for a dollar, which was 28.50 for last several years. Many young people looking for a chance to go abroad. They demand now wages enough to live on, save, travel, and spend for their family. They demanded the state cut their spending for luxury goods like large cars. They demanded the Prime Minister comes and meets them, which the Prime Minister did. He came out to the square 2 times. After his first meeting with the students, he called the extraordinary sessions of the cabinet for emergency meeting, and as he promised to the students, there were 15 demands from the students, and the government of Mongolia, within its competencies, have promised to solve 11 of them. Those including consumer good price stabilization, not fast-track so-called decisions for people involved in corruption, tightening the criminal punishment for corruption, identify the people at fault of DBM, identified the people at fault of DBM bad loan cases, identified the people at fault of DBM bad loan cases, and solve the issues in just manner. To cut the state costs and expenses for items and services not first priority. The cabinet created government working group, which also includes those students from that demonstration. But the demonstration goes on already for the 3rd day. Now there are many people on the Sukbata Schoolway today. Looks like it has more political character, supporting the Democratic Party. One may also connect these days of demonstrations with wealthy individuals involved in misuse of public funds, including Development Bank of Mongolia. Yesterday, the Minister Bat Erden of Environment and Tourism made an order to sell all cars of the ministry for auction and use 4-wheel drives for rural trips, cars from the state garage fleet. The government also cancelled a tender for 1.3 billion tugrik for purchasing furniture for state offices. So it looks like government of Mongolia is going to have another price stabilization program like in 2013. Need to warn the government that price restrictions by law at the end usually brings the black market booming, and the goods and services are disappearing at the end at all. Our 3rd topic today is Democratic Party and factions are divided on a new leader. A conflict among the Democratic Party of Mongolia keeps going since the election of 2020. Today, faction of Erden looks like legitimate after the Supreme Court registration on March 31st. The decision made Batsur, one of the candidates for the head of the DP, stepping down from the election campaign that was running all around in the country, in Aymak by Aymak, district by district. Nevertheless, they held an election on April 3rd for just only candidate the former President Battulga, who got 99.95% of the votes from 1,200 delegates from 21 IMACs and Ulaanbaatar city. The official inauguration of the new leader of the Democratic Party was held on April 7th as well, and approved officially him as head of the party. The ceremony was attended by only 3 MPs of 8 seats the Democratic Party has in the Ikhural. The 3 members are Tsoktgiril, Eddisha, Tuang. The absent 5 members have not yet expressed their position. The new leader, Battulga, in his speech at that inaugural meeting said, "Globalization failed and the small countries are becoming the victims of it. The national conservative concept will save Mongolia and lead to prosperity. There is no guarantee that the Ukrainian case will not be repeated in Mongolia. People's Party will not rule the country forever. The Supreme Court must be just institutions." On the same day, April the 7th, which is celebrated in Mongolia as Didi, or the Day of Democracy, the founders of the Democratic Party, with the head of former Mayor Batul, made press conference as well. They blamed Russia for the invasion of Ukraine. That war is the war against democracy. Mongolia is becoming, again, the victim of external powers' intervention in inciting the fight among Mongolians. We should strengthen the parliamentarian values to protect our sovereignty. That was said by Mr. Batul. So these are 2 conflicting remarks of leaders inside of the Democratic Party. This concludes my review for this week. Thank you for watching and look forward to sharing my reviews next week. Until then, have a good week.